thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. So let me grab my stick here. So right here, in 1968, we lost all of our rights. All right. And how do you know that? How's that 100% for certain? Because what's going to happen right here in Terry versus Ohio is officer safety is going to be put over your fundamental rights. And this is going to happen in 1968. You see, you only have in the United States of America, the only thing you have of any value is your rights. No material possessions truly matter in life and death. Nothing else really matters other than your rights. And when I talk about your rights, I talk about your right to be free. I talk about your right to marry who you want to marry. I talk about your right to domestic republic, where a democratic republic where you'll vote for the person who you want to vote for. Your rights contain numerous different entities that are critical for you to understand your freedom in the United States of America. Now, unfortunately for us, we have an unelected body of Supreme Court up here. These are all of the courts that we've had throughout the history of America on the top of the graphic. And what you're going to find out is that this, fortunately for us, we have an unelected body of Supreme Court up here. These are all of the courts that we've had throughout the history of America on the top of the graphic. And what you're going to find out is that this unelected body of mostly white supremacy, I'm sorry to say that, please forgive me, but it's true. Remember, guys, this is the unedited version of history. Okay, this is the unedited version of history. This is not some William Archibald Dunnin form of history. You guys can write that down if you want. William Archibald Dunnin. Someone type that out for me, please. William Archibald Dunnin. Type that out. Someone put that down there for me, please. Let me. How about now? We should have a little bit better service now. I turned off my Wi-Fi. So the unedited version of history. Please type out the name for me. William Archibald Dunnin. Please type out the name William Archibald Dunnin. Okay. Hey, Pure, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm going to add Pure here as a moderator. Got you, Pure. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in the room. Thanks a lot for coming in. No, absolutely not. I'm only teaching real history, guys. I only teach William Archibald Dunnin. That's right. So if anybody wants William Archibald Dunnin, take a look and read who that gentleman was. If you want a fake history of the world, you can listen to some William Archibald Dunnin. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's D-U-N-N-I-N. The gentleman or the person who just chimed in who said that Earl Warren set the tone for the United States of America. That's right, he did. This man right here was born in 1892. And then by the time it was 1902, there were 600 people lynched in the United States of America. Oh, I'm so sorry. I miscounted that. I'm so sorry about that. So when Earl Warren is born in 1892, from 1892, right here, this is the worst time in the history of lynchings. So when Earl's born in 1892, by the time it's 1902, 10 years old, 3 years old, there's been thousands of lynchings in the United States of America. Earl Warren grows up believing that black people like John Terry are really second-class citizens, that they don't have the brains and they don't have the evolution, and that they're really still a Jim Crow clown. And that was a very common way to label a black person all the way up and through the 60s was a Jim Crow clown. And so Earl Warren, what he's going to do is he's going to get on the Supreme Court in, I believe it's going to be 1953, I'm pretty sure. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry, I got it right there. He's on the Supreme Court in 1953. He's appointed Chief Justice. Remember, nobody elected Earl Warren to form our country. He was an unelected, appointed white supremacist. If you don't know that, then you don't know history. If he wasn't a white supremacist, then how come in versus the United States in 1942, Korematsu was put in prison in a what's called a concentration camp here in the United States of America in 1942. And the man who put Korematsu in a 1942 concentration camp on American soil was named Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was deeply involved in World War II. Remember, we're going to fight in World War II from 1939 to 1945. Now, some will say that we fought before 1939, and some will say we fought after 1945. But the official registry of how long we were in World War II was 1939 to 1945. But remember, World War II started in 1930. So we were 9 years behind. And what happened in those 9 years? 6 million Jews were executed. 6 million Jews were taken to the showers, and they were burned alive, or they were gassed, or they were killed, and their parents never got to see them again, and their children never got to see them again, because we sat silent for 9 years and did nothing. So what was that called? The Roaring 20s and 30s. Think about that. If you look back on American history, what's it called? It's called the Roaring 20s and 30s. So what was roaring in the 30s? The gas chambers over in Germany and over in Europe, where we sat silent and we did not get involved. And so now, so right here, when we do get involved in 1939, it only takes 1939, 1940, 1941, 1942. And what happens? Why does FDR lock up 100,000 Japanese people in the United States of America? What would make him do that? Earl Warren, look it up. Earl Warren sat down at FDR's table in California, sat across from Franklin Delano Roosevelt in a room full of other people who were, I'm sorry to say this, white supremacists. I hate to tell you guys that. Pure white supremacy. And Earl Warren looked over at FDR and he said, listen, you got to lock up these Japanese people. And FDR said, man, I don't know if I can lock up 100,000 Japanese people. And Earl Warren's like, the fuck we can't. We'll build concentration camps right in the center of New York City. FDR says, you want to build concentration camps in the center of New York City? Earl Warren says, fuck yeah, let's do it. So they do. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. So then as we move forward right here, this happens in 1942. The war's going to end in 1945. And so in 1944, there's a guy been sitting in prison for a couple years, sitting in a concentration camp for a couple years. Can you believe that? Does anybody know what a concentration camp actually is? When I say the terms concentration camp, do you actually understand exactly what I'm saying? Ah, Mobot. You're the bomb, dude. Thank you so much. So do you actually understand what a concentration camp is? Can you guys just type down in there for me, pretty please? Just type right down in there. I know what a concentration camp is. I do not know what a concentration camp is. Type it in right there. Type it in. Type it in. I need to see how many people know what a concentration camp is and how many people do not know what a concentration camp is. Just type it in there for me. I know what it is. I don't know what it is. Okay, forced labor, that's a good guess, but that's not true. Keep going. You know what it is. I can define it for me. I just want to be clear. I'm going to share my knowledge with you, and I'm going to share it completely with you so that when you hear the term concentration camp ever again, you'll truly know what it means. You'll truly know what it means. You want to put it up, Mo? Thanks, man. So here's what a concentration camp means, okay? Let's take an area here. Let me take a little area. Okay, so do you see this right here? Do you see where all these people were murdered for fighting for their civil rights? So what you do, if you're going to take over an entire country or an entire city, what you do is you take the people like this right here who are going to fight for their rights and willing to die for their rights, these people in this area right here, and you put them in a small concentration. And then what you do is you re-educate those people. So imagine taking thousands of people and putting them in a tiny little space. You're concentrating those people. And when you concentrate those people, now you re-educate them. And how do you re-educate them? Beatings and RAPING and TORTURE. Those words is how you take and you create a concentration camp. Now that you understand what a concentration camp actually is, now let's get into it. What did he do in 1942? The man who was known as the greatest president in U.S. history? He started a concentration camp in New York City. All over the world, all over America, he started concentration camps where he locked up Japanese people. And then his very first appointment to the Supreme Court in the year 1937 was Hugo Black. Hugo Black was a lifetime member of the KKK. It's a fact, you can look it up. If anybody can go to Wikipedia, please, and change his page. I've studied all of his cases. He did not leave the KKK and become some great civil libertarian. That's a William Archibald Dunnin version of history that simply is a lie. And if you read it, that Hugo Black used to be a KKK member and then he left and he became some civil libertarian, let me be the first to help you. This man right here was the lead inquisitor, the lead questioner in the Terry v. Ohio Supreme Court case, which is what I'm going to get into next when we talk about Earl Warren. I'm going to continue this story and then I'm going to tell you what Hugo Black did regarding John Terry. And if anybody knows how to change Wikipedia, you may just decide to go over and change Wikipedia when you hear what I'm going to tell you. So right here, Earl sits down, Earl Warren, our white supremacist in chief, Supreme Court, 1953 to 1969, and he sits down with the other guy who's a racist to the core. FDR defeated Hitler, but he certainly did not like black people and did not support black people, and I can name numerous legislation, and I will as I go on. So now right here, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he says to FDR, he says to Earl, lock him up. Earl says, lock him up. He locks up 100,000 Japanese people in concentration camps. Now you know what a concentration camp is and what it does to people. And so this guy's sitting in a dungeon for a couple years named Korematsu, Japanese guy. He sues and he goes to the Supreme Court in 1944. But let me remind you guys of something very, very important. Franklin Delano Roosevelt gets into office in 1932. Between 1932 and 1944, he will elect 7 of the 9 Supreme Court personnel, including the first one, KKK member Hugo Black. And so now what's going to happen right here is when Korematsu takes his case to the Supreme Court and says, hey, listen, man, listen, I'm an American and I have the right to liberty to walk down the street regardless if I'm Asian or not, regardless if I'm Japanese or not. Korematsu says, fuck you, FDR. I have a right to be free in America, and I'm going to sue for my civil liberties being stripped from me because I'm simply a Japanese American. But like I said, my friends, like I said, the unelected Supreme Court, 7 of the 9 personnel had been appointed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Now, if you want to go read William Archibald Dunnin, they will tell you what a savior he was and how he's the best man in the world and how he's the greatest president that's ever been known. My friends, I hate to tell you this. He was forced into a war that England drug him into because they were being freaking slaughtered. He refused to enter until it came to the point where it was imminent that if we did not enter, we would eventually be fighting Germany on our borders. He sat there and watched millions get exterminated and did nothing. And he's the greatest president in U.S. history? I beg to differ. And so then right here, after he appoints Hugo Black to the KKK and Korematsu sues, the unelected body says, you know what? Not guilty. Not guilty. Korematsu he's innocent, and Korematsu, you had to go to prison because it was a way to keep order in the United States of America. That's exactly what happened, okay? So now right here, as we move forward, we're going to move forward in time right here. And now Earl Warren is on the Supreme Court. Earl Warren is on the Supreme Court. As a matter of fact, Earl Warren's the top guy. He's the grand poobah. Well, what are his qualifications? Let's go back in time like we were doing a second ago. We got a little bit of sidetrack here, okay? So from 1892, right over here is where Earl Warren is born. From 1892 to 1902 to 1912, let me just tell you guys something. It's the worst lynchings in U.S. history. Earl Warren grows up watching thousands and thousands of people be lynched. And so then right here, as he comes on, now guess what happens? So what is the year again? We're in 1912. What's going to happen in 1914? World War I. So of course, Earl Warren, since he's only 23 years old and he's just getting out of college, of course Earl Warren's going to go to World War I, isn't he? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Earl Warren is going to claim that he has hemorrhoids. He's going to say he has hemorrhoids, so he can't go to World War I where everybody's dying. He can't do that. Instead, he goes to like a Camp Pendleton, like a base somewhere. Not Camp Pendleton. He goes to it's an intern. It's garbage. So anyway, the biggest point is instead of going to war when all the other boys are going to war and dying in 1914 and 1918, World War I, he goes and does something else in his mid-20s. He serves in the military, if you could call that service, because he doesn't go to war when everybody else is going to war. Uniform State Narcotic Act, isn't that passed by the federal government and given to the states? Wasn't it spearheaded by Harry Anslinger? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so now as we move forward in 1937, you're going to see the Marijuana Tax Act be passed. And what is that going to do? Now we're going to have, instead of the prohibition, see, look right down here, where the very first prison industry is actually created right here. Right here. So just right here, just so you know, this is 1920. And this is 1933. We go from a population of prison that's 40,000 people to over 200,000 people because we prohibited a chemical. It ruins our country. People are killing each other. There's death in the streets. 1 out of 6 people will be either shot, hurt, or killed by the alcohol gangs. We live in a total police state. But the thing is, the police are running the alcohol and they're doing the drugs. They're doing the prostitution rings. They're doing the alcohol rings. This is the police are doing this. And the only reason we have a prison system at all whatsoever, is because you cannot lynch the cops and the Italians who are doing it like we did the black people. Black people were told, here, we built the prison industry here, but we didn't fill it up. It was mostly white people all through here. How come, why is this because the black people, they either went to work or they got lynched. So when you got arrested and the 13th Amendment said you would be a slave or you would go to prison, that's not what happened. You will either be arrested or you will be lynched if you don't go back to work. That's what happens. So now as we're going to move forward down the line here, what we're going to find out is that Earl Warren right through here, he's going to be the governor of California. Yeah, he's going to be the attorney general of California. This guy's, he's never lost a single election ever. He runs for governor, he wins. He runs for attorney general, he wins. He runs for the vice president and they lose when he's on the vice president ticket. And so then remember what he does? He's a Freemason. All through this time right here, what he's doing is writing structural laws. Structural laws. Like what? Like the Model Penal Code, right? 1952. 1952 is the Model Penal Code, you see. So now right here, what Earl Warren is going to do is something absolutely... You guys can get a copy of this wall graphic on my website, Delete Laws. Get my wall graphic on deletelaws.com. Follow along at home as I teach this, okay? So now, keep going. Tell your friends, it's Terry versus Ohio. Terry versus Ohio is the linchpin of death in our country. And it's going to be passed by Earl Warren. Now, let me explain something to you about Earl Warren. How many people are still here? You guys start from the beginning? Anybody here from the very beginning? Who's here from the very beginning? How many people have been here one time? How many people have been here 2 times? How many people have been here 10 times? How many people have been here? Type down here for me. Type it right down there for me. Type it. How many times have you been here? How many times have you guys been here? Let me see. How many times have you been here? How many times have you been here? Type, 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 type. How many times have you been here? Just tell me so I know. And I'm going to go right back into the story. First time, first time, first time. Amazing. 10 times. New. 20th time. Amazing. 3 times. First time. Good. Now take your finger real quick and just tap, 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 tap. Because this is a new section of Earl Warren. I'm going to show you guys a new section. You see Earl right there? I'm going to show you what a gigantic freaking fraud this guy is. And if you ever hear about Earl Warren, you're going to know this guy's a fraud. Take your finger and tap, 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 tap. Okay. Okay, now let me show you guys this. This is going to blow you away. This really sucks. I'm going to give you some really bad news here. So just be prepared for this. So now remember what I told you, Earl Warren, he's the one that sat down at the table with FDR and said, you got to lock up those Japanese people. You remember that, right? You remember me telling you that, right? Oh, shoot, I got to do a promo. I'm so sorry. There's my cup of coffee fund right there. That's my cup of coffee right there. If you guys want to give me a cup of coffee, that's all I would ask from you. If you learn anything at all, there's my cup of coffee fund right there. Take a screenshot, take a screenshot, take a screenshot, take a screenshot. Let me keep going. I got to get on the road to Missouri, but let me keep going here. So now right here, Earl Warren, what he's going to do, right? He tells the FDR, lock him up, they lock him up. Okay, now right here, now when Earl Warren gets on the Supreme Court, he's going to hear a court case, and it's going to be called Mapp versus, this is a new graphic, as you all know. Mapp versus Ohio is right here. You see this case right here? Does anybody know what this case is? Does anybody know what the Mapp versus Ohio is? Can anybody tell me what this case is about? Because we're going to talk about John Terry right now, but first we're going to go over Mapp versus Ohio. So what Mapp versus Ohio is when Dolores Mapp, her house is raided by the police. So in 1961, when her house is raided by the police without a warrant, Mapp versus Ohio is passed that says that if police raid your house without a warrant, it's going to be excluded under the exclusionary rule. You have to have a warrant to enter into someone's house, and that's determined in 1961 by who? By Earl Warren. Oh man, he's such a good guy. He upholds our rights by going Mapp versus Ohio. What a great guy, right? Well, let's explain it a little bit further so you truly, truly understand exactly what this man did. So in 1961, they say, hey, look, you got to have a warrant to enter a house. So from 1961 to 1962 to 1963, the police picket Earl Warren. This guy's never lost anything. He's a Freemason. He was president of the Freemasons for 5 years. He has never lost a thing. And when the police are picketing him, that puts a lot of pressure on Earl. Good old Earl can't take it. He's used to winning in everything he does. When World War I comes, he goes to another farm because he has hemorrhoids. That's Earl. So then as we get to Mapp versus Ohio, the police have been picketing him now after he passes the exclusionary rule for 2 years to impeach Earl Warren. And as you know, none of the tyrants who are on the Supreme Court were never impeached. And so he wasn't a tyrant. He was just an abysmal failure. So now right here in 1961, 2 years later, in Kerr versus California, in Kerr versus California, this is where Earl Warren is going to overrule his own ruling. In Kerr versus California, Earl Warren is going to change it. He's going to change this. He's going to overrule Mapp versus Ohio. He's going to say all the police need to do is come to your door and knock on your door, announce that they're there, and they can come busting in your door. They can break into your door. They can kick your door down. They can knock nicely and open it. They can go get the key from the landlord. They can come into your house if they only knock first. That's Earl Warren. But wait a minute, Chili. Wait a minute. It says right down here on the bottom of this, it says right down here, it's that the Fourth Amendment, it says the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their person. In their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Wait a minute. Secure in my houses? Well, then how in the world could Kerr versus California make it so cops can just knock on the door and announce and come running into my home? How's that possible? Oh, I'm so sorry. They're going to use common law from the 1600s, from the 1500s. Earl Warren is going to say common law practice in the 1600s was that if authorities came to your door, they only need announce themselves and they can come running in. And so right here, he is going to make a police state by creating Kerr versus California. But what's it going to be based on? Exigent circumstances. And what are those exigent circumstances? The 1961 Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs is where the World Health Organization will say that smoking marijuana has no commercial viability and no pharmaceutical viability. You follow? The World Health Organization did that in 1961. They did it. The World Health Organization did that. You better understand that. The World Health Organization said that marijuana would make your kid turn into an axe murderer. That's the World Health Organization in 1961. Even though the LaGuardia report had came out in 1944 that said that marijuana had no characteristic changes at all whatsoever. Okay? So now Earl Warren, he's going to change. He's going to pat Mapp versus Ohio, and everybody applauds him who's a person. But then you know who's a citizen? Oh, we have the exclusionary rule, but quietly they pass Kerr versus California. There's no front page newspaper about this. There's no front page newspaper about that. But there is about this one. There is about Mapp versus Ohio. And so then after Kerr versus California, this is the jurisprudence, that the stare decisis, that is the basis, the leg of which Terry v. Ohio can stand on. You can't have Terry v. Ohio without Kerr versus California. You can't have Kerr versus California without Carroll versus the United States. Carroll versus the United States is the very beginning of exigent circumstances. Do you realize, are you guys starting to see something? Are you starting to see a pattern? Every time I go to talk to somebody about here, what do I have to do? What's the consistent pattern that I have to do? When I go here, here's what happens in Terry v. Ohio. I got to go, well, it happened here, and then it also happened here. Right? Have you noticed that? So what does that mean? That things that happen back here are responsible for what's going on today. Hugo Black, born in 1886, he's going to be the father of the Terry trial. He's going to be the lead inquisitor in the Terry trial. And the Terry trial is what creates the prison state that we live in today. The reason why we have millions of people living in a dungeon today is because of the large contribution by the KKK member Hugo Black. Facts are facts. Facts are facts. So now I just went up here and I said Terry v. Ohio is the most destructive case in modern history today. And if we don't overturn Terry and get officer safety over your rights, well, then we're doomed. I've said this 1,000 times. So why do I say that? Why do I say that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the reason why cops can run up and grab you and that officer safety is more important than your rights is because Earl Warren invokes exigent circumstances. Exigent circumstances. You got to know what that is, okay? I'm actually going to put it on the finalized board, but it's not right there, okay? It's not there yet. So Terry v. Ohio, let me just back up. This is not the final graphic. I'm just showing you guys right now, okay? So right here in the 1925 case of Carroll versus the United States, this is an Oklahoma case where the Carrolls are smuggling alcohol. But you know who the number one smuggler of alcohol is all through Prohibition? You may have heard of Lucky Luciano. You may have heard of Al Capone. But the number one alcohol smuggler in the history of Prohibition is police. Police are the number one smugglers of alcohol. You find that out in the Wickersham Commission. I have this available on my website for free. All of my downloads are on my website for free. If you go to my website, deletelaws.com, And then you go to the contact us, deletelaws.com, and you go to contact us, and then you put in your information and push enter on your laptop or on your desktop, not on your mobile. You'll get all my downloads absolutely for free. That's how much I want you to learn this shit. That's how much I want you to learn it. You go to deletelaws.com, go to contact us, it'll say register right there. And you fill in 3 lines of your contact information, and then it'll pop up on your laptop or on your desktop and say, do you want to download the police commissions? And guess which police commissions I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Wickersham Commission, I'm talking about the Knapp Commission, I'm talking about the Mullen Commission. You know what? I bet you, I'm going to take a poll. Right now, 170 people in this room, 170 people, vote right now. How many people have heard of these 3 commissions? How many people have heard of these 3 commissions? Go ahead and tell me how many people have heard of these 3 commissions. Type it down there for me right now. Type it. Yes, I've heard of the 3 commissions. No, I've never heard of the 3 commissions. Type it. I told you, I'm going to give you a lot of education tonight. I told you that, didn't I? I meant it. Tap your screen for me, guys. Tap your screen for me. Tap your screen for me. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Tap your screen for me. Come on. Tap it, tap it, tap, 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 right on my finger. Meet my finger. Tap, 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 tap. Not enough stars. Make it fly. Make it fly, baby. 150 people. Make it fly. Tap, 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 tap. So by the way, guys, when you go to my website, when you get the police commissions, one of the ones that is definitely in those police commissions, right? One of the ones is definitely the Mullen Commission. And when you just read the table of contents, when you just read the table of motherfucking contents on the Mullen Commission, it's going to set your chin back. Let me just tell you that. When you read the table of contents on the Mullen Commission, it's going to put your chin back into your neck. You don't even know what they're doing. And this gives you, the 94 is the most recent, this gives you a real insight to what police actually are. I don't care if you're brother, mother, best friend, lover, cousin, best friend's super dog down diver. I don't care who it is that you think you know is a cop. If you haven't read the 1994 Mullen Commission, you know absolutely zero about police. You know less than that because you know why? The stuff you think you know is wrong, is incorrect. If you have not read the Mullen Commission, even if you're an auditor, even if you watch and you film police, you don't know shit. You literally don't know shit. You have not read the Mullen Commission, you know shit. You don't know anything, sorry. If you're out there chanting and you're out there and you're going against police, you don't know anything about them. You don't know anything about cops if you've not read the Mullen Commission that you can get on my website for free, for nothing. It'll cost you zero, nothing. Here it is. Go to my website. You want to read the Mullen Commission? You want to read the Mullen Commission? You want to come back in here after you read it? You go to deletelaws.com and you go to contact us. You put your information in on your laptop or on your desktop. The Mullen Commission will pop up along with 4 or 5 other downloads that you should read. That you should read. I got to do a promo, guys. I got to do a promo. I'm getting on the road to go to Justice for Caleb. I'm going to go fight for Justice for Caleb. I'm going to Missouri. So this is my cup of coffee fund. This is my cup of coffee fund. America is hard. We live in a bullshit capitalistic system. Please don't break yourself. I do appreciate a cup of coffee. Thank you so much. That's all I'm looking for is a cup of coffee. If you learned something new and you're excited and you want to change the world, join me. Join me. I promise you I will never stop until we overturn Terry. I give you my word. I give you my word. Anybody in here who knows me, they'll tell you. I give you my word. I don't stop. I don't stop, people. You may not stop. You may stop. You may have kids. You may have a wife. You may have a life. I don't. This is my life. This is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to stop till I overturn Terry. And you're going to be with me, and we're going to do it together. So now let's get back into Earl. Okay? Let's get back into Earl here a little bit. Let's talk about Earl and the piece of shit that he is. Let's get right into it. Okay, now everybody, when you initially go and you talk to other friends and they tell you, man, I saw this guy's TikTok and he was saying what a piece of shit Earl Warren is. Like he was a total white supremacist, total piece of shit. And then people are going to say to you, oh my God, whoever told you that is full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. Earl Warren passed Brown versus Board of Education in 1954 that desegregated America. That's what they'll tell you. That's the whitewashed William Archibald Dunnin form of history, my friends. We don't play that bullshit around here, okay? This is the unedited version of history. You sell your dog shit to someone else. I did the research on Earl Warren. He's a piece of shit. All right, don't bullshit me. So now right here, Brown versus Board of Education, this is going to cause desegregation. Are the police going to enforce desegregation? No, it has to be the National Guard. The police won't do it. Because for their entire careers, they have been at the tip of this graph right here. This is what police do. And they will not enforce desegregation. Okay? So now, not just the desegregation of education, the desegregation of hospitals, of schools, of dance halls, of bars, of clubs, of everything. So the military is going to be desegregated in 1948. And it's going to be desegregated by Harry S. Truman. Harry S. Truman is a devout racist piece of shit. And you know what happens to him? He becomes a non-piece of shit. He becomes a non-racist. Do you know that? Harry S. Truman, I think he's born in Missouri. He's raised in Missouri, I'm pretty sure. And Harry S. Truman, he's going to desegregate the military in 1948, 6 years before Brown versus Board of Education. So why does Harry Truman do it? Because of how the black troops performed in World War II. What the black troops did in World War II, and Harry S. Truman got a bird's eye view of that. He desegregated the military and said these men no longer belong segregated from other men. That's what Harry S. Truman did. And Harry S. Truman was raised racist as fuck. His mom would have been considered a Karen racist today. And so now right here, so Brown versus Board of Education comes up, and remember what Earl Warren's done. Has anybody been here since the beginning? Has anybody been here since we started? Have you been here since the start? Yes or no? Okay, so now right here, the reason why is because, remember, he sat at FDR's table in 42 and said, lock up those 100,000 Japanese people. That's all the population of the Japanese we have here. And Korematsu is going to sue in 1944. Earl Warren is a prosecutor, so obviously he's going to be aware of what's going on, even if he's not directly sued. And so then right here, when Earl Warren, right here in 1954, remember, Earl Warren has no idea what black kids are saying to each other in schools. He doesn't know what they're talking about on playgrounds. He doesn't know what this new, by the way, let me just clue you guys in here real quick. This is important you understand this. And this plays into Earl Warren's decision. The only reason we have free black people in America today is because of World War I and because of World War II. If we had not had these two wars today, we would have two Americas in a way that you couldn't even possibly imagine. It would be unfathomable, the two Americas we would live in. Black people would be servants, and white people would be the premier class. It would be a joke of a system. But here's what happens. 1914 to 1918, remember, the racism in America runs so deep that black soldiers, they won't be led by American commanders. They'll be led by French commanders and by English commanders. And for the first time for 4 years, they're taught how to fight. They're taught how to battle. They're taught how to assemble. They're taught how to form lines. They're taught how to shoot, stab, punch, kick, fight. They get back in 1918, 350,000 troops. What's the Red Summer of 1919, where thousands of blacks around America, black people, are slaughtered around America? Because when the black troops came home, they told their other friends, you don't have to take that shit. We're decent people. The French and the English respect us as equals. And so then you fast forward here to World War II, and now instead of 350,000 black troops coming back, you got 500,000, 1 million black troops coming back. And now they know how to fight, they know how to war, and they know how to war in a biggest way after fighting and taking down Germany, taking down Hitler. And so now when these black troops come back, when World War II ends in 1945 exactly, now right here, Earl Warren sees this, and he sees all these black troops coming back, and they're second-class citizens, and he knows it's only a matter of time before there's a rise up of epic proportions. Of course there is. Harry S. Truman has already desegregated military in 1948. Earl Warren knows what's going on. He's very intelligent. He knows what's going on. Okay, so now right here, as we move forward in time, he then says in Brown versus Board of Education, I don't know what the black community is thinking and saying because we're segregated. What are they saying? What are the kids passing in notes? Is there an uprising coming? Is there something bad going on? Is there something that I don't know about? Okay, good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So now right here, he's going to desegregate schools over fear, over white fright. That's what's going to happen right here. Earl Warren has white fright, and he's going to desegregate us because he doesn't know what's going on in the black community, in the black hospitals. He doesn't know what's going on in the black bars, in the black nightclubs. And so he desegregates us. And what's the form of desegregation that he's going to do? They're going to put black people through what's called assimilation. If you don't know what assimilation is, and you're any Native Americans in here? When I say assimilation, every Native American in America cringes. When I say assimilation, when I say they're going to put black people through assimilation, every single Native American cringes. Because assimilation means that what we're going to do is we are going to make you live the white man's life. You are going to live like the white man. You're going to wear a tie. You're going to wear clothes. You're going to abide to our laws. And you're going to live where we tell you to live. And so they put the Native Americans through what's called assimilation. Maybe you guys heard of the Trail of Tears. And so this assimilation thing that they put through the Trail of Tears, and then they completely torture the Native American people, trying to put them through the American colonizer form of freedom, which means the social contract. You will live under a set of laws. You are not free. You cannot run wild. Okay, so now as we move forward right here, as we get into here, 1900s, this right here, and because of the Native American struggle, this is where we're going to lose our freedom as white people and brown people and black people and brown people and Asian people. This time period right here, like I said, all history connects. This is where we create a police state right here. Do you understand that? The police state didn't start today. The police state started in the 1890s and the 1900s. This is when the police state began. Okay. Go by my website, guys. Pick up a copy of this wall graphic, if you would, please. DeleteLaws.com. I'm going to be heading over to Missouri to fight with Tina Slay. We're going to get justice for Caleb, and we're going to overturn Terry. I'm heading over there this week, so if anybody can't get them, you can go to my website and get it for free. But if you can pick one up, I do appreciate that. Thank you. I do appreciate you picking one up. I also have an ebook that's for children on my website, so if you guys get that ebook, you make sure you read that to children. Make sure you read that to children. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. I got to look at the comments real quick. We're going to be in Springfield October 24th for a rally for Caleb Slay. That's why I'm trying to move as many wall graphics as I can. People who can support. But if you can't, I'll give it to you absolutely for free. Don't even hesitate to hit me up or go to my website. And so now right here, right back into it. So this is the beginning of tyranny for our country here. And the reason why, just so you guys know, is that the white people, the white colonizers, are really sick of dealing with Native American Indians. They're really sick of it. You know, you have Oliver Wendell Holmes and you got Howard Taft, and these two devout supremacists. So now these guys are not racist. There's a difference. Let me explain it to you. Let me explain to you the difference of racism and white supremacy here. There's a little bit of a difference when you're talking about historical context. So racism and white supremacy are a little different of history in historical terms. So Oliver Wendell Holmes is not a racist. He does not believe that black people should be killed and that their lives don't matter. And neither is Howard Taft. He's not a racist in that regard, right? What they are is they're white supremacists. And what they believe is that black people are inferior, but they're still humans. You see the difference? Do you see the difference here? Whereas if you take Hugo Black, he's actually a racist. He actually thinks black people should be grabbed and beat up and hurt and pulled down. He's an actual racist. Whereas Oliver Wendell Holmes fought in the Civil War to free black people. That's what the war was about. Don't let anybody tell you something different. And he fought for freedom for black people. He actually was in the Civil War when he was 18, 19, 20 years old. And William Howard Taft, one of the worst gigantic pieces of garbage I've ever researched. I've never seen a bigger piece of garbage. This man here, he wasn't a racist as much as he was a white supremacist. You see the difference? You see the difference? So I'll see you guys on October 24th there. Let me just try to wrap up Earl Warren here, and then I'm going to say hello and get into that a little bit. But so here, Earl Warren, we've said this. I gave you guys a little bit of a build-up here. And I explained to you why he did Brown versus Board of Education. I explained to you how he completely screwed all of us over on Mapp versus Ohio and Kerr versus California. You're going to hear people say about Earl Warren how he passed the exclusionary rule and how the evidence is excluded from you if they search you without violating your rights. Okay, well, Mapp versus Ohio says they can come into your home just by knocking or announcing that they're there. So what good is the exclusionary rule if they just announce they're coming in and they just start going through my shit? Doesn't help me at all. And then he passed Brown versus Board of Education because he was afraid. And so then right here as we move forward, you're going to hear how Miranda, you're going to hear all kinds of things about how he's a humanitarian, great guy. Turn those people over to me. Let me have a conversation with them. Let me educate them because they don't know. So if you get stumped at all with anybody and they're a boomer and they're like, dropping down rock sock on this guy, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Just have him give me a call. He's a piece of shit. So, and by the way, not a racist, but a white supremacist. Like we've talked about the difference here. So now right here in Terry v. Ohio in 1968, this is where the case is about John Terry, who's downtown Cleveland in 1963. And when he's downtown Cleveland in 1963, this man, Martin McFadden, looks over and he sees him and says, I don't like how he looks. And so he runs over and he grabs John Terry. Well, I mean, we've gone over the Fourth Amendment to nausea, but, you know, it's the right of the people to be secure in their persons. That's what the Fourth Amendment is. It's, you know, let me just step back for a minute. I made this a little, I'm actually changing this on the final graphic where you're going to have two different parts of it. But anyway, the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their persons. Do you see that? The right of the people to be secure in their persons. So when Martin McFadden runs up and grabs John Terry, you're no longer secure in your person. Think about that for a moment, please. Think about that for a moment, please. Okay? Think about this for a moment, please. The right of the people to be secure in their persons. You have a right to stand there without anybody fucking grabbing you. Okay? You have the right to do that. And then in 1968, Earl Warren, the white supremacist, is going to say, well, you know what? The cop who approached him, he must have been scared. He says this during the oral arguments. He makes excuses as to the reasons why Martin McFadden ran up and grabbed John Terry. You see. You listen to the oral arguments on my YouTube page. Go to my YouTube page, Delete Laws, and listen to Overturn Terry on there. Listen to the Overturn Terry arguments on there. You're going to learn something. You go to my YouTube page, Delete Laws, and you are really going to learn something. Especially if you watch the Overturn Terry series. Okay, so. Anybody still here? Dropping numbers here. Getting down. Maybe people are tired. Maybe people are going to bed. You guys still here? Are you guys still here? Do me a favor, tap your screen. Are you guys still here? Who's still here? Who's been here since the beginning? Anybody been here since the beginning? Anybody been here since the beginning? Tap your screen for me a little bit. Tap that screen. Tap, 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 tap. Right on my finger. Just tap right on my finger. Just tap on it. Tap, tap, tappy. A little tap, tap, tappy. A little tap, tap, tappy. Tina Slay's here. Did we get Justice for Caleb? Did you guys all follow my friend Justice for Caleb? I'm going there. I'm going to Tina Slay right there, right down there. You guys see Tina Slay right down here? Tina Slay, Justice for Caleb, right down there. See right down there? Justice for Caleb, right down there. Oh, good to see you. Good to see you guys. Good to see everybody. Thanks for coming by. Justice for Caleb is right down there. Please follow my friend Justice for Caleb. There she is. Please follow my friend Justice for Caleb. She needs 1,000 followers to go live. I need you guys to follow my friend, please. Pretty please, Justice for Caleb. Please follow my friend Tina Slay. Okay, so now right here, this is going to be the beginning of tyranny. This is going to be the very beginning of tyranny right here. Because when Earl Warren and the rest of the white supremacists, including actual KKK member Hugo Black, who ran as a KKK member, and he won in Alabama, born in Clay County. So now right here, when Martin McFadden runs up and grabs John Terry, the chief Supreme Court justice is going to make the entire case not about your Fourth Amendment right, but about officer safety. And as soon as it's about officer safety, I'm actually going to add the people who've been passed away, legally departed. I'm going to put them over here. I'm going to put some folks over here because I have to be able to reference people who've been killed by the police. You get hundreds and hundreds of people who are going to be killed, and you get a prison system that looks like this from Terry versus Ohio. That's why right here, across here, it says overturn Terry versus Ohio. 9 out of 10 police interactions start just like this. 9 out of 10 police interactions today start with Martin McFadden running up and grabbing John Terry. It's the same scenario played over thousands of times every single day. Every time you see someone be killed by the police, it starts off as a Terry stop. 9 times out of 10, it starts off as a Terry stop. He created the modern-day prison system we have today. He created the modern-day lynch system we have today. Officer safety is more important than your civil rights. And how do you know that? Because you can be murdered upon investigation by a police officer if you do anything that you're afraid of. He's afraid of you. And that's why Justice for Caleb is in my room right now. That's why Justice for Caleb's here. I keep asking you guys to follow Tina Slay. Her name is Justice for Caleb on here because her son was murdered within 15 seconds of a Terry stop. Within 15 seconds of a Terry stop, Caleb Slay was executed. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, guys. Okay. I got a lot of things I got to get done before I take off to Missouri. I bought that van yesterday. I pick it up tomorrow, Tina. I pick up the van tomorrow, Tina. I'm gonna pack my things in that van and I'm gonna drive to Missouri and I'm gonna help you. And you're gonna help me overturn Terry, and we're gonna overturn Terry together. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. So I'm leaving Southern California. My work here is in Missouri. The work that I need to do to change this world is in Missouri. So, and then after that, I'm gonna hit the road. After we have a couple rallies there for Caleb and for Jalen. Jalen Goodwin is his last name, by the way. I'm gonna head through the South, and I'm gonna start to teach the kids. I'm gonna start to teach the people what the problem is. So, I do appreciate your support. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't be doing this unless I was able to have people pick up a wall graphic and an ebook. So I'm super grateful that those of you have been able to. I'm super grateful. And if you're not able to, everybody here knows that's not a barrier for you and I, my friend. That's our entrance to meeting each other. When I make sure that you get a free book and a free wall graphic from me, the moment you want one or you need one, don't think money's an obstacle between you and I. It's not at all. I'm here for you, to help you, and I'm here to change this bullshit system. And I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it. You're gonna see I'll be standing there when it's over. I'll be standing there when this shit's over. Yes. Yes. Any of you guys know any charter schools along the way? After I leave Missouri, in Missouri, any charter schools after October 24th? Any charter schools that let me come in? I'll come teach in a charter school. I'll come teach anywhere. You got a playground that's super popular where you live? Is there a playground where you live? Is there a square where you live? Anywhere in the South where you live where I can come there. I'm bringing a huge step repeater. I got a 14-foot by 8-foot step repeater where I put an exact replica of this graphic on it. I've been prepping for a long time. I'm a little too close to this camera. I got neighbors over here who are sleeping, and I just don't want to be too loud, so I apologize that I'm so close, but I don't want to scream because I don't have my office anymore, so there's a house over here with people in it, and I really got to get this light turned off. It's probably time to shut down here pretty quick just because this isn't my space. I'm just staying at a friend's house until I leave for Missouri tomorrow. So it's tomorrow I take off, guys. I'm going to Missouri. I'll make a video tomorrow on YouTube. What happened to Jeremy? What? Hey, Buck Reel, what happened? What happened to Johnny Normo? Hey, I'm friending you right now, Buck. I just followed you, Buck Reel. Buck Reel, can you DM me, please, Buck Reel? I want to know who Johnny Normo is. What happened to Johnny, dude? I'm stopping in Vegas first to see my family. I'm spending a couple days in Vegas with my family. I'm gonna spend it because I don't know if, it's really corrupt where I'm going, and it's really corrupt where I'm going. So I'm gonna see my family before I leave, just in case I don't get to. Oh, how you doing? Sorry about that. I'm a dude. Beagle Ridge 12. What's up, Beagle Ridge? What's up, brah? I'm just watching everybody say some stuff, so I'm just listening to what people are saying. It's going to be dangerous for me. My life is going to be dangerous for a while. I've already said it. And I haven't made any bones about it. They're going to kill me, and you know it. You know they're going to kill me. As soon as we get traction, I die. So I would love to try to say there's something different than that, but I don't have a wife and kids, so I'm not leaving a family behind here. But then at that moment, you guys, this movement galvanizes, and the nobody that I am becomes a somebody, and even if I'm not here to enjoy it, you guys will change this fucking world, man. I welcome it. If they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill me. Fuck it. Change this shit. Don't let me die a martyr, Don't let me die and not be a martyr. I guess that's the best way to say it. But I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna go all through the south if I can make it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna stop. This is the beginning for us, you guys. If you're just getting to know me, you and I, this is the beginning of our adventure. I'm packing up tomorrow and I'm leaving. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. All right, I gotta get out of here. I can't spend the rest of the night here. Any of you guys find any charter schools, or if you guys want to meet along the way, let me know, okay? Let me know. Anybody on YouTube, on Instagram, you guys want to meet along the way? Hope this was a pretty good lesson. I didn't really get to go into Terry as much, but I just got a lot to do. I got to get a couple things done before I leave, and I'm leaving tomorrow, so I got a lot to do. All right, I got to get out of here. My neighbor's going to bed. All right, nothing but love for you guys. Tina, I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, you guys have a good night. Later.